Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is how to protect yourself when working with contractors. RAIN Nation, contractors can make you money, save you time, and help bring your vision to life. Or they can blow your budget, wreck your timeline, and leave you staring at a half-demoed kitchen wondering where your money and your sanity went. Because here's the truth. Even good contractors need clear systems, expectations, and accountability. This is not about being difficult. It's about being a smart investor and protecting your project from unnecessary chaos. So, before you hand over money and hope for the best, here are 5 ways to protect yourself when working with contractors. Number 1, get everything in writing. Don't rely on handshakes, text messages, or "don't worry, I got you." You need a written agreement that clearly spells out the scope of work, materials, labor, payment schedule, timeline, and who's responsible for what. If it's not in writing, it becomes a he said, she said situation real fast. Protect yourself by making sure everyone is looking at the same expectations from day one. Number 2, never pay for labor up front. Let me say this louder for the people in the back. Do not pay for labor that has not been done yet. If a contractor says they need money to get started and it's for materials, then pay the supply house or the vendor directly. That way you know exactly where the money is going and you're not handing over cash with nothing to show for it. Labor gets paid after labor happens, period. Because once you pay upfront for work that hasn't been completed, you lose leverage, you increase your risk, and you make it way too easy for delays, excuses, or disappearances to show up on your job site. Number 3, verify licenses, insurance, and references. Do not skip this step because someone came recommended or seems legit. Ask for proof of insurance, check licensing if required in your area, and actually call the references. Ask those references. Did they finish on time? Did they stay on budget? How did they handle problems? Would you hire them again? Anyone can talk a big game. You need proof that they can actually perform. Number 4, use clear timelines and regular check-ins. A vague timeline is where projects go to die. Set expectations for start dates, major milestones, and completion dates. Then do regular check-ins so you can catch delays, confusions, or mistakes early. Small issues become expensive disasters when nobody addresses them for 2 weeks. Communication is not micromanaging, it's project protection. And number 5, document everything and keep a paper trail. Take before, during, and after photos. Save invoices, receipts, text messages, change orders, and payment confirmations. If the scope changes, document it. If the timeline changes, document it. If there's a disagreement later, your memory is not enough. You need receipts. A clean paper trail protects you financially, legally, and emotionally when things get messy. So, RAIN Nation, here's the bottom line. Trust your contractor, but back that trust up with systems, paperwork, and accountability. The goal is not to create drama. The goal is to create clarity, protect your investment, and keep your project moving. Now, go out there and protect that project like the deal-making badass you are. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. Today's guest is Elle Anderson, real estate investor, revenue architect, and founder of Wish Tree B&B, a luxury short-term rental brand known for creating high-performing, experience-driven properties. Elle has completed 27 acquisitions, including a $10 million deal in her 20s, and she's built a reputation for seeing opportunities that other investors miss. Her work today sits at the intersection of real estate, revenue strategy, and mindset, helping entrepreneurs and investors uncover the hidden patterns that quietly cap their income and shift into a way of thinking and operating that leads to greater profitability. But what makes Elle's story especially powerful is that it hasn't been a straight line. She's gone broke twice, and at one of her lowest moments, she was down to her last $5. That experience didn't change her financial strategy, it changed her identity. Instead of chasing more tactics or simply working harder, Elle rebuilt by focusing on how she thought, how she made decisions, and what she believed was actually possible. And that shift has produced some serious badass results. Elle brings such a powerful perspective on identity, revenue, and decision making, and why so many investors are solving the wrong problem. It's my pleasure to have her on the show, so welcome, Elle Anderson. Hello, friend.
Hello. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh my goodness. I had the pleasure of meeting you at the recent The Host Connect in Cary, North Carolina recently. And
Yes.
I got to interview
We had the
you.
best host.
Oh, why? Thank you so much. That was so much fun. And I got the chance to interview you on stage. And I'm like, can you please be on my podcast? So I know there's so much more. So for those who are just learning about Elle, give us a little background on you.
All right. Well, I did lose everything twice, not once, but twice. So now I think of it, it was my great fortune to be able to do that, because now I'm absolutely positive what makes success and what doesn't. Like, there's no question in my mind anymore. And so, but the second time I lost everything, I was, like you said, literally down to my last $5. I had zero in my bank account. I also had no food in my house, and I had a 2-year-old son.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, what am I going to do? And so I was thinking, I've never been in that position. So I was like, am I going to have to go on food stamps? And I was like, I don't even know how to go on food stamps. Like, who do you call? Like, where do you begin? Like, I have no clue. That's never been my life. And something in my entire body just said, no, that is not going to be my life. And I took my son, I put him in his car seat. I drove to the nearest gas station, and I gave away my last $5 to the first person I saw. And I just knew that was not going to be my life.
Wow. Well, so what happened? I mean, you leave
Then I get back to my house, and literally a friend of mine who I'd never shared any of my financial problems with had left me 2 bags of groceries.
Wow.
Yes. And I knew that my life was destined to be much greater than that. And so shortly after that, I got a better house. Then I manifested $1 million. And I was able to pay off. I had $500,000 in debt. Besides being no money and down to $5, I had $500,000 in debt. So I paid that off, and I took that other $500,000 and I bought another business.
Okay, and how did you do this? What were the steps? You come home, you've just given away your last $5. Mm-hmm. You have 2 bags of groceries from a friend. So what shifted for you?
Everything. Like, the whole time I was saying, because my son is 17 now, so it was 15 years ago. I just kept worrying about losing everything. I kept worrying about not making sales. I kept worrying about things getting worse, and they did. And so I was just like, I'm actually good at creating things. I'm just creating the wrong things. So I refused to let myself think and worry ever again. And so I just place my thoughts and feelings on the positive, on what I want. And I get myself into a state of actually believing I can have those things.
So like the law of attraction.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So,
But I do a lot of action.
okay. So how did you go from the 2 bags of groceries to what'd you say, $1 million project? What was it?
Yes, I said I manifested $1 million. So this was during the Great Recession. So even though I was down to nothing, I owned real estate. It just wasn't making any money, or it wasn't worth anything more than I owed on it. So I would actually not make any money if I sold it. But then I started changing my thoughts. I was like, no, this is going to, in like within 8 months, I had an offer where I would literally make like $1 to an offer where I made $1 million on selling some of my properties. And it made all the difference in the world. So, I mean, it was just a short time, but it just showed me exactly the universe was responding to what I was putting out there, my energy, my thoughts, because all of that forms your actions, right? So if I don't think I can do something, then the universe is not going to prove me wrong.
Well,
So,
I mean, I'm a big believer in manifestation. Trust me, I get it. But for some of the listeners out there who are not, for some of the listeners out there who do not believe in manifestation, what were those? You just sold off properties? Like, how did you? And by the way, with real estate, it is all about shifting when times get tough or pivoting, I guess we should say, because, you could be a wholesaler and put your blinders up and, oh, I'm just a wholesaler, but there could be a great deal that comes across your desk that could end up making you millions if you aren't, aware to watch for those things. So
yes,
is that what got you over that hump, was just selling off properties?
yes.
Okay.
Well, in that particular instance, yes.
Okay.
I'm a big believer in pivoting, and like I see in patterns. So, like in one market, something might work, right? But in another market, you might have to do something different. So to be as
Right.
successful. So I look for the pattern. So in this particular case, yes, the very same real estate that I was trying to sell that I got, essentially no money for, I was then able to sell, I think it was 8 months later, where I profited $1 million from it.
And
So,
like, what were those 8 months like?
well, I had another business, so things got a little better there. I started making more sales, and like just incrementally things things got better. And I was
Because you
just
were thinking more positive. You were welcoming it. Yes, I get that.
yes, yeah.
Got it.
And yeah, I mean, one of my best examples is before I started thinking, and it's not just thinking positive, like it has to be your identity. Like if you think, oh, I make $1 million on each deal, then most likely you're going to make around $1 million, right? You're certainly not going to make $10 million on a deal because that's your kind of your self-limiting
Yep.
thoughts. But you probably won't make 100,000 either because you believe you've gone up above that stage. So where I was, this was another business I had that I was trying to make work even before I was down to my last $5. This is part of the reason I got to my last $5. I went an entire year, right? I was selling to corporate. All the meetings were set up. I had all the executives, all the right people. I mean, I had 12 high-powered meetings and I made zero sales.
Mm.
Zero sales. Then after this last $5 and this whole shift in my thinking, I actually from the $1 million, the business I bought, that whole year, that from the business I bought, I sold every single person that I met with, like every sale, every opportunity. So I went from 0% closing rate to 100%.
Nice.
So that's not just changing a strategy or, a sales technique. Like that is an entire.
Absolutely. Right. So you mentioned that like one of your big messages is that most investors think they need better deals, better marketing, or better tactics, but they're actually solving the wrong problem. So let's go that direction. What do you mean by that? What is the wrong problem they are solving?
Right. So the wrong problem is they're trying to do tactics, right? Revenue management or, design, like all those things are good, right? But if you don't have the right mindset, if you believe, oh, my short-term rental just breaks even, it doesn't matter what tactics you put in place, they're not going to work. Same thing with the selling the real estate I had. It went from being worth $0 to being worth $1 million. So it wasn't worth $0. I had debt on it, right? So, but like that is the whole thing, is the energy you're putting behind it, because how you're thinking about yourself and your thoughts, like that's how you make decisions, right? Like you mentioned, that's a perfect example, a wholesaler, right? They may have wholesaled something and they made 10, 20 grand on the wholesale deal, but if they had kept it, they might have been able to make $1 million on it.
Right.
Right? But they don't see themselves that way, or it seems too risky or too scary. It's out of their comfort zone. So
So,
that's what I mean by they're solving the wrong problem. They're trying to, figure out AI. They're trying to figure out revenue management. They're trying to figure out design. They're trying to figure out, what their competitors are doing. Like those are all tactics and strategies. And not that I don't use them, I absolutely 100% use them. But the core is mindset.
yes. So you said you have your mindset along with lots of actions. So what are some of those actions?
Right. So one of the things I find is people learn a lot of things and then implement very little. So,
I laugh because I know that one. Yes, absolutely.
so
I don't know if you know this about me, Elle, but I'm a coach. So I could lead all these horses to water, but if they don't implement it. So I'm sorry, that's why I laughed on that one. So go
yeah,
ahead.
absolutely. So my thing is you learn one thing, right? And then you implement it. Like don't learn 10 things, don't learn 20 things, just one thing and implement it, right? But the core is definitely you have to shift your identity, how you think of yourself, because how you think of yourself, who you are. Like right now, most of my deals I make about $1 million per deal. And so, I didn't used to think that way. I would be lucky to make 20 grand on a deal. So that's a difference in thinking. But now I'm trying to, level up. Hey, I can make 10 million profit on a deal. That sounds better to me. Like what kind of deals do I have to do for that? So that tends to be more on the micro resort side versus just a single family house. It's hard to make 10 million on a single family house.
I love those micro resorts. We can get into those in a minute here, but you say that another powerful point that you say is that working harder is often making things worse. Is that more along the lines of what you're saying right here? Is that pick one thing, master it, and then move on to the next one instead of being so scattered all over the place? Is that what that is, the breakdown for that reasoning?
So I didn't say master it. I said just learn the one thing. Don't
Okay.
worry about mastering it and implement it, right? So once you start implementing it, then you're going to get better at it and get better at it. But I think most people, they learn 10 things and then they implement 0 things. And so just learn the first thing. So I don't know how many of your listeners are like just thinking about investing for the first time for a short-term rental. So learn one thing, learn how to analyze a deal, right? And so you might learn from Jen how to analyze a deal. I'm sure you teach how to analyze a deal,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Get that down. Then do it on 10 different deals to see, like get that one thing down. And then the next thing would be, okay, I need to understand how to analyze a market. Okay, learn that, right? So when you put those things together, then you feel like, hey, I can do this. I can actually acquire a house, turn it into a short-term rental, or acquire an existing one, make it better, and do well. So when you're scattered, yes, it's hard to make anything successful.
Absolutely. And by the way, the listeners, they aren't necessarily just short term rental. It's one of my areas that I love, but we also do long term rentals, new builds, flip houses, wholesalers. So we have all different types of listeners. I just wanted to clarify that
Okay.
for
Oh,
you.
thank you.
But you kept talking about you've put yourself at this level of I make $1 million a deal now. Can you walk us through what one of those deals look like? You've done like 27. So let's hear. Give us an example of one of your deals.
Yeah, the one I just sold, is closed in January, so just a couple months ago. No, it closed in February. It was supposed to close in January, closed in February. So last month, 2 months ago, I guess we're April now. Sorry. Okay, 2 months ago it closed. I bought this deal. It was in the Poconos. I bought it for $477,500. It was a 1930s original log cabin with a massive indoor pool. So it had 5 bedrooms and I made it into 6 bedrooms.
How big
I
was
had
this
to,
property?
what?
How big was the property?
4,600 square feet.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, on a creek, which was more like a river. So it was unique. And so I bought it. I work with a lot of realtors, so I got this particular one off market, which is always some of my favorite deals are the
Yep.
off market ones. So it needed a lot of work, which I put into it. And I just sold it, which I put in almost $400,000 of work
So
into it.
walk us through that. What all did you
Okay.
put into it?
So I had to
This is
redo the
part of your
pool.
business. This is
Yes.
okay.
So I had to redo the pool. Redid all the flooring, painting inside. I had to fix some of the chinking. That's the thing between the logs.
Yep.
That white
That
part
white
they
stuff.
call
Yep.
chinking. Yes. I had to repair that. New bathrooms, a brand new kitchen, some new windows. So, all new furniture, everything. So that was a little less, like 388,000. And then I started renting it and
As a short-term rental.
as a short-term rental,
Okay.
yes. So we had, I think we did 300,000 the first year and 330,000 this last year in revenue.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I just sold it for 1.8 million.
Whew. So you buy properties. This is Wish Tree B&B. This is your company.
Yes.
And
and I'm going to give you the address because people are like, I don't believe that. Okay, you can look it up on Zillow if you want. The address was 205 Falling View Court in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
I'm gonna have to look that one up. So what your company does is you buy properties, you fix them up, you short-term rent them for a while to start growing revenue, and then you sell them. Is that part of your business, or is it just you just happen to sell this one?
So I intended for short-term rentals to be, steady income. Like that was
Right.
But I have gotten opportunities to sell at big numbers. So I have taken those opportunities. And I think that, and I've made more money on the equity than I do really well on cash flow too, but more money on the equity because there's such a demand for high performing short-term rentals that have track records. So, and there's a bunch of institutional investors coming into the short-term rental space and they're buying, and that's exactly what they're looking for. They need that track record. So I pivoted when I found a better opportunity. And so, yes, I sold my house in Asheville and I had 2 others in the Poconos that I've all sold off, and I had 2 in Florida that I sold off as well in the last couple years.
Very nice. So, going back to this property, this log cabin with an indoor pool, you have said that two people can look at the exact same property and see completely different opportunities. So, what made you see this and know that this was going to be the cash cow that it was?
So I had been studying the Poconos market. So one of the things is I see in patterns, right? So I look at the Smokies market, which is suffering right now, but before it wasn't. It was strong. But they had a lot of indoor pools, and the indoor
Oh,
pool places were doing really well. Almost all the top properties have an indoor pool. In the Poconos, there were very few indoor pools. So you have to have, a mountain market that has a cold climate with an indoor pool is usually going to do extremely well. So you have to look, like in the Smokies, I wouldn't do that right now because there's so many of them. So I also
right.
look for markets where there's not a lot of new construction. So if there's builders building new construction short-term rentals, then you're constantly competing with the
Right.
newest, greatest thing. So I like to go into, like when I went to the Poconos, I mean, we had legacy owners that still said, "Oh, bring your own sheets." So that's the kind of competition that I like to compete against.
Oh my goodness. And I'm on the East Coast and there's like the beach rentals where they only do Saturday to Saturday is like the only time you can rent. Yeah. So that's breaking out of that mold. And that's where you can really find a lot of that hidden revenue. So I want to dive a little bit into some other hidden revenues. You have been in this short-term rental business for a while now. So can you share some other hidden revenues in a short-term rental?
Yes, I like to I go in, if I'm going to go into a market, I look at all of the top performing properties. So in the Poconos, I believe there are about eight, it varies, but about 8,000 short-term rentals. So the number one, and it produced over $1 million, is a castle, and it has 50 bedrooms. My property actually got to number 10 with 6 bedrooms. So it's seeing the different things. And then I like to add things that are more meaningful for guests.
Okay.
So in my Asheville property, I put these little wooden, like 4x4 squares with markers. And then I had these short little shelves that they fit in there perfectly. So everybody could do one. And then, after a few months, the whole wall was getting filled in, and people like take pictures and post it. And like that seemed to be very meaningful.
So they take a little wooden brick, we'll call it, and then
Yes,
they decorate it, and so maybe the family can, and then they put it in the wall. Like, can they pull out others and look at others?
they can.
Okay, and then at the end when it gets all filled up, do you just start over or?
We just kept adding on more and more shelves.
Oh, that is
Yes.
a really unique idea. Well,
Yes.
you and I were at this conference together, and there was a unique cabin that they shared, and you and I were joking like, when are we going to make our own? So you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I do. I do.
So for the listeners, it was a sex cabin. So we are not going to do that, but I just thought that was so funny. So what are some other? I love that whole you're making memories and you're providing that experience, and that does not cost you much to take probably a 2x4 and cut those up. What are some other revenue generating tactics that? And I love that, very unique. So do you have any other secrets you can share with us?
Yes. I mean, I still, the number one most requested amenity on Airbnb is a pool. So I try, like, if you're in the Florida market, you have to have a pool to even
Right.
compete, like to even be in the game. So, but in the northern markets, there's a lot of them where there's not a lot of properties with pools. And so a great idea would be you buy an existing short-term rental in a northern climate that has a pool outside, and then you put a dome over it and you make it year round. So instead of just getting the extra revenue in the summer, you get it all year round. Now you have to heat the pool, and that is costly. No question about that. But the revenue you generate from that is really high.
And are there any like revenue generating tactics that you've done that you're like, oh, I hate that? Like, I am not a fan of hot tubs because I feel like guests don't use them properly. They're a pain in the rear for cleaners, but like a pool, they are a lot of people will not stay someplace, especially in North Carolina in the mountains, whatever, if there's not a hot tub. So are there any that you like curse underneath your breath? Like, why did I do that one? Anything stand out to you?
Well, hot tubs, I think you have to have a hot tub. Like even if you don't have a pool, you have to have a hot tub. People love hot tubs. Yes, they can be troublesome, there's no question, but you just have to figure that out. The other things like saunas,
Those are really hot
saunas,
these days. Yeah. Pun
yeah,
intended.
yes. I think a sauna is great in photos, especially if you get a barrel sauna.
Yep.
They're beautiful. I've had them. But what I find is that most people don't use them, but I still have them because that's why people book. They're like, "Ooh, this is beautiful. I'm booking this." So I look for those things that are going to make them book, not necessarily what they're going to use when they're there. But they do tend to not know how to use a sauna, even with written directions right there. It's a little tricky. So that's when it's like, oh, really? They did that again? But it's still a revenue driver. And for the most part, my team handles all of those things without me. So I'm happy.
Very good. Well, anyone who, as far as listeners, if they do have a short term rental and maybe they feel kind of plateaued right now, where should they look first to maybe start bringing up that revenue?
So I think the first lever to pull is look at the competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things is a ping pong table can bring in quite a lot of additional revenue. So, but look in your market and see, like, I mean, now before I would just manually look. Now I use AI and I get all the data and I put it into Claude and it tells me, okay, if you have
That
a
sounds
ping pong
offensive.
table,
Put it in
you,
Claude. Just
yeah,
kidding.
Claude. It'll tell you if you have a ping pong table in this market, in this bedroom count, it's going to produce this much more revenue on average. So you can see the things that are going to move the needle.
And there was another one that we were listening to, and they were talking about like a pet friendly something where they did like little paw prints for the pets when they were there, like little take home keepsakes, more along the line of, sticking I keep calling it a brick, but it's a wooden, what would you call it? The little wooden square,
I just call it a block.
wooden block. So not brick, block. So I mean, I just really love that. I mean, we have, the guest books where they can write things in and do things like that. So I think adding that, and it's really cost effective. It's just one of those things where it's not going to be you're not breaking the bank for it. So
Yes.
I love that idea. So go ahead.
I also have my wish tree wall, right? So that's my brand. So, and I tell my last $5 story, and we have a tree on the wall, and then we have usually like little post-it notes, and they can put their wishes up there.
Aw.
Yeah.
And you keep them there for all the other guests to see behind them?
Well, sometimes we get overflowing, and
Okay.
so then we pray for their wishes to come true as long as they're good for everyone. Sometimes they're not, but if they're as long as they're good for everyone, and then we have to remove some because the wish tree gets really full.
That is a lovely idea. So, speaking of Wish Tree, what's next for you and Wish Tree B&B?
So I am right now developing my Grand Canyon Resort.
Mm.
So it currently has two houses. I bought it with two houses. It's the original Grand Canyon outpost that literally sold Indian and cowboy paraphernalia, which was incorporated into the design of the short-term rental. And so it has two houses and I can build out to 12. So that's what I'm in the process of doing right now.
Wow. And are they little A-frames? Are they cabins that's more stylistic of the area? What are you building?
So some of them are A-frames, yes. The centerpiece is our beautiful pool, of course, it has a huge dome, a 10-foot tall dome that's automatic and retractable. So it's summer or winter. The
Oh my
pool's heated
goodness.
all year round, which near the Grand Canyon, there are essentially no pools. There's hardly even not all the even the hotels have pools. So that is like the centerpiece of the resort. And yes, some of the A-frames we're naming the Shack and Up Shack. You might
Love
like that
it.
one, Jen. Or the Love Shack. One of the A-frames has a bed that retracts out so you can see the stars.
Oh my goodness.
We have a caboose that is a short-term rental. You can go stay in the caboose. It says the Grand Canyon Railroad. We have one called the Jail. I think if you come, Jen, we might have to put you in jail. One's the sheriff's quarters, which is the biggest one. That's a 5-bedroom.
Ooh.
So there's all different kinds. And if somebody, rents out the whole place, we can accommodate 55 people.
Oh my goodness. So what does that look like? Do you have someone that stays there on site? Do you have like 24-hour people there? Is it a separate website? Do you advertise it on, the Airbnb or Verbo host like that? So how does all that work?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes to all of
Very good.
those. So, we are, I mean, I'm building it out now. So it'll be this year, the pool's going in 4 of the houses. Next year will be the additional 6 houses to give us a total of 12, plus the game room. So the pool and the game room are shared amenities.
Okay.
And so by the end of 27, we'll be completely built out. And we will hold for like family reunions or corporate retreats like a year ahead of time. So if they want to rent out the whole thing. But then within the next year, then we're on Airbnb, VRBO, we're everywhere. As
Oh,
well as our own direct site, which is wishtreebnb.com.
and do you have other micro resorts like this?
I do not. This is
Okay.
my first one.
Oh gosh, it is such a goal of mine, Elle. And I'm looking more for like North Carolina mountainy kind of thing. But I love how each one of your dwellings is themed, and that just makes it so unique for people. And one year they go, one summer they stay in the caboose, and ooh, next year we're moving up to the sheriff's quarters. So I just love that concept. It's so creative, and just bravo to you for that. So, where can listeners find you if they want to learn more about Elle Anderson?
So probably the best place to find me is on Facebook, just
Okay.
Elle Anderson. Also on Instagram is Wish Tree B&B, which is also on Facebook. And on Instagram, I'm also real Elle Anderson.
I follow you on Facebook, and I gotta say, you are so fun to follow. You have a very good AI person where I'm like, gosh, that is really good AI. But I love the quotes that you put up. You're just a great one to follow. So listeners, make sure you are checking out Elle Anderson on Facebook as well. Absolutely. So I want to move real quick to the second part of the podcast, which is what makes Elle Anderson a badass, which clearly you are. And I use the acronym BADASS, and the first letter is B for book. What is a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
So I know this might sound a little cliche, but The Secret, like
I love it.
literally, that is before The Secret, I had no idea that thoughts become things. Like I was just thinking life just gave me whatever. So that changed. That was when I actually actually had read it and watched the movie before I lost all my money. So knowing is only half of the problem. Doing is the other half. So but still, that is the most influential book that I've ever read.
And it's a quick read too, and it's one of those where you just got to dust it off every once in a while. I love that book so much. I ended up finding Jack Canfield, who was featured in The Secret,
Yeah.
then just thoughts become things. And I'm such an advocate for that. And I took his program. I'm actually a Canfield certified trainer now,
Okay.
because of The Secret. So it is absolutely, definitely the whole law of attraction is what that is based on. Very good. All right. The first A in Badass is for advice. You've given us some great advice, but I'm curious, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Make decisions from where you're going, not from where you are.
Say it again. That was so good.
Make decisions from where you are going, not from where you are.
That is so good. Why is that important to you?
It's so important because if you want to level up, whether it's in money, deals, relationships, whatever you want to level up in your life, you need to make decisions from that version of you that is already leveled up.
Mm.
Because this version of you is not making those decisions.
We could end it right there. That was so good. All right. The D in Badass is for drive. What drives you to be successful?
I love, and that's why I started coaching people. I love when they begin to believe in themselves, that they
Mm.
can do more, be more, and have more. Like it is so fulfilling to me that it just makes my heart sing.
So, so true. All right. The second A in Badass is for aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So, what is a goal you are currently working on?
One of my goals is to help 1,000 entrepreneurs create their dream life.
Ooh. And how many have you gotten so far? I'm sure you've done a bunch.
I have done, I would say that have actually achieved their dream life about a dozen so far.
Very good. All right. And that's going to compound on each other and go very fast, I am sure. All right. The first S in Badass is for systems. What systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
My biggest system is how I think and make decisions. So I see things in patterns and I pick up on patterns really quickly. So, especially the ones that are limiting results. So then I can make changes and evaluate the new and improved data.
Yes, those limiting beliefs, man, they get in there and they just mess with you. So, and the best way is just to see it and know that it's a limiting belief and you are so much better than that. Well, Elle, I could talk to you all day, but the final S in Badass is for success. What does success mean to Elle Anderson?
Success for me right now means freedom,
Mm.
being able to do the things I want to do. So I love doing what I do. I work a lot, but it doesn't feel like work. Like I really have fun every day. And so to me, that's freedom. And that's why I want to help other people achieve freedom as well, because it's so different when you're choosing what you get to do all day.
Ah, so good. And I do have a follow up question about your Grand Canyon property. So you reside in California. Are you going to be staying near the Grand Canyon when you're building all this, or what does that look like when this project's going on?
I mean, I'll go and visit as I've done in all my other projects, but I'm not moving there.
You
Um,
you have
or at least I
teams set
don't
up and
plan to. Yeah, I have teams in place.
you could fall in
So
love with. You may want to claim that caboose for yourself.
I might. It is really cute.
So, Elle, this has been such a pleasure interviewing you. I appreciate your time so much. One more time for the listeners, how do they find you if they want to maybe get some coaching sessions or just ask you some questions about things?
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram. You can DM me at Real L Anderson, and that's ELLE, the normal way of Anderson.
ON. There's an EN version of it, but
There
it's
is. So I said normal way is ON.
well, this has been such a pleasure. Elle, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, you're just a pleasure to be with. And I know we jokingly say we're going to buy a sex house together. and I cannot wait.
Well, that is all, everyone. Elle and I have to discuss our sex scavengers, but that is it. So thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.